rise, flag right here.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
So tonight we have a couple presentations from Valley View. And these are always great nights. We love coming to the board with our students and all of their accomplishments. Our first presentation is going to be the Patriots Pen. There's a Patriots Pen contest every year at Valley View, and we always do very well. And this year we did something extra special. So I'd like to introduce Veterans of Foreign Wars, Mr. Bruce Paxton.
Thank you very much. Before I talk about Patriot Pen, I just want to take a moment to thank the board for their continued support of the Veterans Program at Lakeview School. For those of you who may not be familiar with that program, every year the 4th and 5th grade students put on a program around Veterans Day. It's really a terrific program. It was put together by Councilwoman Nancy Woody about 27 years ago. After the program, the parents put on a wonderful catered luncheon. But the best part of that program is right after the children's program, we get to go into the classrooms and visit the students in their classes. And they ask us many questions about our experience in the military. And it's really interesting. I've been in classrooms with veterans who break down, who have never told some of the stories that they tell the children. For some reason, they feel more comfortable talking to those students than they do even to their families. So, you know, when that program was put together, it was probably the first veterans program in the area. Now there's many, but the one at Lakeview School is by far the best and the one that the veterans most look forward to. So thank you all for your continued support of that program. The Patriots Pen program is a program sponsored by the Veterans of Foreign Wars. It was started about 1947. Every year, about 120,000 students participate in the program. And there's competition held at the local, the county, the state, and the national level. This year, the theme for the program was America's gift to my generation. And it was very interesting. We had about 85 entries from Valley View School. About 70 of them, the students said that the gift of their generation was technology, and how technology has helped them in learning, how the use of Chromebooks and tablets, cell phone, all these things that have made both their schoolwork and also their social life so much better. It's interesting that not one student from St. Mary's Prep mentioned technology. So whether that's some indication of the level of technology at the parochial school versus the public school. One other thing interesting this year is the number of 6th grade students who were finalists in this program. And just for an observation to the board, in the 7 years I've been involved in this program, it's amazing to see how much better the essays from the 6th graders are today than they were when I first got involved in this program. So I'd like to introduce John Chaparas, who was not only the winner at Valley View Middle School, but also came in second place in our county competition. So John, will you come up here? share with you a little bit of what John wrote. John wrote, "No idea is more fundamental to America than our nation and freedom. The brave servicemen and women who fought for our freedom and continue to fight for it are the true heroes of our country. Through their heroism, they had given us something here in the United States that is intangible in so many parts of the world. America's gift to my generation is freedom." Isn't that beautiful? John, on behalf of the members of Veterans of Foreign War Post 2519, I'm happy to present you with this certificate.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you.
And so our next presentation is regarding the mock trial, and our leader at Valley View for the mock trial is Mrs. Mary Lesbis.
Thank you very much.
There you go.
So this is my third year as the moderator for mock trial. It actually started, Mr. Ford and I were trying to figure out when we started. It was probably about 8 or 9 years ago. Mr. Hoffman, who was a social studies teacher in middle school, actually got the group started. And shortly after that, there was the infamous second question when we used to vote on the budget. And the funding for after-school activities failed. And Einhorn Harris, a local law firm, stepped into the fray and funded the group so that the group could continue, and they continue to do that today. So I would like to ask Mr. Timothy Ford, who's a partner in the law firm, to come up. He's representing the law firm. Normally we have Ted Einhorn here, but he's not with us this evening. He is the founder of the firm and is very proud of his participation in this experience. We participate in a statewide competition called Law Adventure, funded by the New Jersey State Bar Foundation. And each spring, we have our themes that are assigned to us each year. This year our themes are, what is that theme? First Amendment rights is one theme, and the other theme is?
Consumer rights and fraud.
Consumer rights and consumer fraud. So the students are challenged with, or charged with, writing original cases, including both sides of the case. Has to be a fair presentation. We are working diligently on that now. Our cases have to be submitted to New Brunswick by the end of January, and then they are judged by a group of volunteer attorneys and retired judges, mostly retired judges, throughout the state, and we will find out what we're up against. Great competition, 120 entries statewide, and in many cases it's not just an after-school club that submits the cases. And then in May we take a field trip and we go to New Brunswick. Mr. Ford usually goes with us, and we serve as a jury for the winning cases, so we get to hear those opportunities. And last year we also had the opportunity, Mayor Andes invited us to come and actually see court in session here in Denville. So we came over on a Thursday morning. Our 8th graders will remember that. It was quite an interesting experience. The courtroom was packed, and at one point the judge invited the students up and spoke to them. They all became tongue-tied. Nobody had anything to say. And then he took a recess. And the prosecutor came out and said, there's about 65 of you sitting in here who are here for dog license violations. I'll meet you in the hallway so we can talk about what we're going to do. And the room cleared out. So it was quite an interesting experience for our students. We're hoping to do that again this year. That being said, can I have our students come up? These are most of our members. We have 20 members. We have 19 members this year of our club. Go ahead and stand next to Mr. Ford. Line up along the front of the board. Mr. Capello, do you want to come up and take the microphone? Can you get us all, Mr.?
Yeah, I just want
Okay, thank you. Good? Thank you.
Thank you very much. We are very lucky to have you here in town. Appreciate the program you run is fantastic. So
Absolutely.
really happy to have you here.
I appreciate it. If I could just, a few words to the board and to those in attendance. Remain standing. I just want to thank everybody for having us here tonight. It was funny, I was at a lunch today, and one of my colleagues, one of my partners said to me, I hope you're wearing your jacket tonight because my cufflinks are New York Giants cufflinks. Because of all the days you choose to put on New York Giants cufflinks, today is not a good one. Normally when I'm in front of a group like this, I feel like I'm in front of an appellate panel with all these judges, or the Board of Education that's here. But I relish the opportunity to work with the students and to have the opportunity to give back to to the community. Einhorn Harris has been in town for 55 years. Ted Einhorn, as you said, he founded the firm 55 years ago. He's not able to be here tonight. Ted's well and working and all of that. But a lot of times in life, it's not easy to write checks. And as lawyers, we always prefer to receive checks. This is a check that the firm is honored to write. The opportunity to support such a wonderful organization, for me to work with such wonderful students, it's really an honor and a pleasure. And I'd be remiss if I didn't mention, I've said it probably every year I've been here, my wife is a public school teacher in Bergen County where I live. And I know from my own experience with my wife, but also for working with Ms. Leskus, there's an awful lot of work that goes into this program. Work that's not always recognized. And there's a lot of work that you do to keep this program as successful as it is. So I appreciate it. I'm sure the community appreciates it, the students do, and the parents, because without your tireless efforts, we wouldn't be able to do what we do, and the students wouldn't be able to enjoy this experience. The goal is not to create lawyers. As a lawyer, I certainly am not in the business of creating competition. But hopefully the students have an opportunity to further develop critical thinking, creativity, all of those skills. So it's, the honor is all mine, the pleasure is all mine to be able to participate in this program. So I thank all of you, and I thank the Denville Board of Education and the community for all the support that the firm has received for 55 years. So thank you, and without further ado, the $1,200 check to the Denville Board of Education.
Picture with Chuck. Over here. Nope, that work?
Thanks. Sorry for dropping the microphone.
So, actually, if you all have just a minute more, I'd like to bring Bruce back up. We'd like to get a picture, if you don't mind. And of course, I want to say, we are so lucky in Denville to have organizations like the VFW, like Einhorn Harris, that help us do what we do here.
Maybe John, too.
Resources.
John, too.
Yeah, John, please. Come on up.
Can we take a picture for social media?
Yes.
Yeah.
And John, tremendous job. We're very proud of you. Congratulations.
Steve. What? I'll take one.
Put your both minutes.
Right? Congratulations. Thank you, sir. There you go.
Thank you.
Good shape, too. Good. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, thanks a lot. Always a pleasure. Thank you. Appreciate it.
So this is normally the point of the meeting where we tell you that we're going to continue on with the meeting and we'll for you home with the school night. But if you'll note for just one more minute, we have another milestone tonight. One of our board members is finishing up her term of service. She's been a board member for
13 lucky years.
Mary Ellen Lindsay is leaving us after this meeting. We're going to miss her, and what we do when a board member's leaving, we like to send them off with a little present. So if you like, if you have the flowers already, this is also for you.
Thank you.
You will be missed.
Always was seeing the students, seeing what they were doing, seeing how what we do actually makes an impact. So it seems like a very lucky twist of fate to have not only mock trial here, but to have Bruce here and to hear your comments about how the writing has improved in the 7 years you've been reading our essays. So that's what we're here for. It's for the curriculum, it's for the kids learning. So it's been a wonderful night here tonight to have all of this come together. So thank you.
Thank you all for coming. Like I said, you are more than free to go. We're going to continue on with our meeting. If you'd like to stay, you're certainly welcome, but we understand it's school night. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. I recognize those former board members.
No, you can't call them open, so just.
Okay, Steve, superintendent's comments?
So, a couple comments from me. Just a little hour of code recap. I thought our hour of code program was great last week. We had students from Morris Knowles Robotics Club come to a presentation for our middle schoolers. We had our children from the upper grades working with the kids from the lower grades. We had activities in all three schools. We had an evening at Lakeview of coding time with parents. We had some dignitaries in the town. I know some board members did some coding. I did some coding. The mayor did some coding. We had some terrific helpers from elementary school kids. It's just a great thing that we're bringing attention to these new. It's actually not new, but just the whole idea of coding as a language and everybody understanding that. Just another thank you to Ironborn Harris. Tremendous that they come every year and give us funds to run that club. Valley View sports are in full swing. Not sure if anybody's had a chance, but the new banners are up. They look really nice. We had a very small presentation. There was media there, so it's in the Citizen and it's in the Friday folder if you want to take a look at it. But the banners are all hanging up and they look really nice. I went to the wrestling team's match versus East Hanover today. The first time in the history of Valley View Wrestling they beat East Hanover, so it was a pretty cool event up there. Came down to the last match and we won. And We also have something called Screenagers on January 25th at 7 p.m. at Valley View Middle School. It's a program on the social media and using the devices for kids. So it's January 25th at 7 p.m. We will be putting this out and making sure everybody knows. I just wanted to make sure everybody knows here. That's it.
Okay. All right, thank you. We'll skip Assistant Superintendent comments tonight.
Now, actually, the Screenager was her.
Oh, that was her comment?
Was her comment.
Okay, and we're covered. All right, Damaris, anything from the Business Administrator's Office?
No comment.
Okay. Thank you. All right, at this time, we'll open up for public comment at 8:02 p.m. Anything at all germane to the district, if you'd like to come on up and sign in and announce your name and address for the record. Good. There will be two. We'll have a second. Yep. Okay. All right. Seeing no one right now. We'll close at 8:02 p.m. And move on to our agenda items.
Well, we moved the Part D, Level 3 education to second, to just later on in the meeting.
Correct. So, Mr. Anderson, would you care to move us through the old business items to adjourn?
Do you want the entire B section, or just?
If you want to pick and choose from there, it's fine. If you don't want to just move the whole thing to later, that's fine.
Okay, we'll hold off on, if there are no objections, I'd like to move, under 3A and B as a block.
A and C?
A and C, same view, A and C, not B. We'll hold off on B, but, A and C,
All of it.
all of B.
I'll second that.
Thank you.
Anybody have any questions or comments on A or C? Okay. If not, roll call please.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Cass?
Yes.
Mrs. DeLuna?
Yes.
Mrs. Lindsay?
Yes.
Mr. Lure?
Yes, and I have to abstain on C1.
Mrs. Wagner?
Yes.
Mr. Cabello?
Yes. Okay, moving on to the business personnel. If there are no objections, I would like to move items 1 through 7. And I draw your attention to the yellow addendum. We have an addition under 1 of I and J, and under item 2, we have the addition C. These are resignations, school enrichment fee, after-school fees, a bunch of after-school fees for different events. So we have a merit pay for 2 staff members, and we have our normal FMLA leaves and also some mentoring items.
A second.
Mr. Anderson?
I would like to just point out number 3, which is Mr. Forte's miracle quantitative number 2, which was increase the district's public face on social media with a new district Facebook page. I haven't seen the numbers recently, Mr. Forte, but I know they were pretty high up there with the amount of likes in a short period of time. So,
I was surprised, what about like thousands now? 1,000.
oh, just on one of the posts.
Yeah.
But overall, how many people are?
Yeah.
We have about 500 followers now. Followers / likers. I'm not sure. There's a difference.
Yeah, I think you know, I think it's an area. I know I've certainly advocated for it. I think it's an area that clearly people are looking for information. So I think it's going well, and I've certainly seen some good feedback. So thank you for taking that on.
Thank you.
Anyone else? Personnel? If not, roll call please.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Cass?
Yes.
Mrs. DeLuna?
Yes.
Mrs. Lindsay?
Yes.
Mr. Lure?
Yes, abstain on 3.
Wagner,
Yes.
Mr. Capello.
Yes. Okay, moving on to instructional program. Mr. Lure, you want to take us through these items tonight?
I would like to move numbers 1 through 4 on the white sheet and, sorry, 1 through 4, and let's point out, under item 1, we have letter F on the addendum. We have workshops, we have attached field trip lists, we have the 2018-2019 district calendar, and we have the special services parent survey.
Second.
So just for everyone, so you know, on item 4, I don't know if anybody has any comments or questions. As Mr. Forte explained, I don't know, was that just in committee or the previous meeting? He and Grace worked on it. She brought it to the CPAC committee where the parents, teachers worked on this survey also, and then brought it to the curriculum committee last Tuesday. So,
Sorry.
No, it's okay. No, I was actually just going to make a general comment. I was very happy to see that CPAC was able to have some input and some involvement. It's collaborative, so, okay.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think I did have some dialogue back with Mr. Forte on just one general kind of comment and suggestion. I felt like a lot of the questions were very, how does our staff react? Or reactive? Do they respond to your emails? How do they respond when you ask them something? One suggestion I had was maybe asking 1 or 2 questions about how they were more proactive. So I looked at this and said, I can picture there are some parents that I've spoken to that might answer yes or in a positive manner on all these questions and still say I'm frustrated in certain areas. So my only suggestion was, can we ask them maybe 1 or 2 questions about are our staff? And looking, to me, this is not a negative on anybody. It's truly looking at ways or opportunities to improve. Can we ask a question about how proactive some of our special services staff are with students? So I think you had a chance to talk to Grace.
We did. I talked to Grace. One thing is we'd like to approve it tonight with we can put some type of, the only reason is the time sensitivity. We don't want to wait until the 22nd of January. So we'd like to approve it tonight. Grace and I were both in agreement that although it didn't come up through the vetting process where it came with the origination of the survey came, we did agree that your idea was a good idea. As a matter of fact, she felt like 2 questions in that area would be beneficial to the survey. One would be, like you just phrased, something along the lines of, is my child study team, is the child study team member assigned to my student, my son or daughter, proactive and is engaged in my child's learning throughout the year, something along those lines. And we also think that there might be, she sent me one, that's why I'm looking at this real quick. She said, my child's case manager's initiative and communication with me about my child's progress and or needs, something along those lines. So if the board's okay with that, to approve it as is with the idea that we're going to add 2 questions, and I'll give you those questions on Friday, but I'd like to get this approved because we don't want to wait and send it out in February. We want to get it done in January.
What do you guys think? Okay.
Good idea.
Grace is not working.
What do you suggest?
Well, I'm good with the plan as to how it will.
I am okay with it. The question is, how does it work for the process of voting tonight? We just approve it and assume that it's going to be.
That we're going to add 2 proactive questions, like I just read.
So does he have to put that?
No, we just have to ask this.
With the idea that I'm going to add 2 proactive questions. You'll see the question on Friday in my report.
yeah, I mean, I know at the CPAC meeting, and I just hope before the survey goes out, that Grace will reach out to CPAC, so they're not surprised when they open up the email. They had additional questions that they added also, and I think in their mind, I think it's question 8 was the one that they added. I received good advice from the school team on how I can support my child and strategies at home is proactive.
It's the most proactive question right now, right?
Right, which is, and there was one other one. Oh, they also added 10, I think, when I leave my child's IEP meeting, I have a clear understanding. Oh, that may have been in there. They added 2, but I have no problem with adding more proactive information.
And then
And I
the
know
last
there's-
one, yeah, the last question is totally for them. It's something they want.
Well, yes, I mean,
Part 2.
Grace had that on there before it came to the CPAC meeting, and they added, one of the topics was assistive technology, they added into there, trying to find out how many people understand. But that question, they may have tweaked it or they may have added that one, trying to find out how many people actually walk away from an AP meeting with an understanding of what they just agreed to, or didn't agree to.
One additional comment on number 3, which is the 2018-19 district calendar. Just make a general kind of comment. I'm glad that we work with Marshall Regional on ensuring that they're connected because we have students that are across both districts. I do wish that the county and or state would come up with something that was more across the board with kind of alignment with other districts. That is what it is. And specifically for spring break, obviously, is always the concern.
Oh, yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
I know you mean. Especially when you have 4 different districts or something, your house.
Yeah.
It's tough to manage that, I get that. So we worked with the 5 districts that all are involved with Marshall's Regional. We came up with this calendar together. I know it was passed. I just got a text from Mr. Chengarelli saying that their calendar was passed, which mirrors ours. It's a little different. We have little bit differences because our contract's a little different here and there, but as a rule, it's pretty close. And the staff, all the staff in the district has been informed that for this year, we are going to start staff back prior to Labor Day, and that when Labor Day falls the way it does, that'll probably be the way we're going to do it going forward. One other thing, just a quick topic, if everybody's okay with it. At my last roundtable meeting with the superintendents from the 5 districts, we all said that we would like to approve in January or February of this year, the start date, not the full calendar, because we won't know the testing dates, we don't want to change things, but the start date for the following year so that everybody's aware of when we're going to start, and then we'll build our calendar from there. Just doing something a little different, all 5 of us felt like that was a good idea to just get it out to the public and to the staff to understand the 1920 school year. I can't believe I said that. From 1920 school year, we'll have the start date of whatever it is.
I think it's great.
Yeah, the curriculum committee supported that after
Yeah, the earlier we can get it out, the better. I mean, I don't know how other districts do it, but I can tell you the 18-19 calendar in certain districts was approved at the same time as the 17-18. So I don't know how they did it with testing, but unless they took a gamble on it and said, we hope it works out, but there's a couple of districts that have done, at least one district locally has done.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah, the earlier we can get it, the better.
Okay. Everybody good on IEP? Roll call, please.
Mr. Anderson?
We did.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
did.
Yep.
Mr.
Yes.
Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Cass?
Yes.
Mrs. DeLuna?
Yes.
Mrs. Lancy?
Yes.
Mr. Lure?
Yes.
Mrs. Wagner?
Yes.
Mr. Capello?
Yes. All right, moving on to finance, as we have no policy readings tonight.
I'm so disappointed about
Isn't there something we could isn't there something we can pull out? We could drag this meeting to a halt for like an hour.
Yeah, that doesn't sound good.
Okay, I'm gonna move on. Mrs. DeLuna, would you move us through finance, please?
Sure, Dino. Before I move items 1 through 6, letter D as a block, I'd like to just clarify the item number 1, the checks. So we discussed the check item 990072 is not part of the package. from this month, so scratch that. Now, looking, I did print the list this time, and I don't see 39991 either.
Yes, that is separate.
It's separate?
It was with the payroll check.
It
It
is.
was, yeah, one separate one, yeah.
Okay. So just strike the one then, and the rest reads acceptable on D1. And then items 2, 3, and 4 are 3 donations, so that's kind of exciting. The one we just saw for Homehorn Harris, $100 from the Cavanos family for ADA classrooms on Riverview, and the annual $2,000 from the Denville MAC. And then items 5 and 6 are for psychiatric evaluations and speech therapy as needed.
I'll second.
Okay, thank you.
I agree, it is always wonderful to see the donations. I saw Mrs. Cavanos today and was thanking her early for the donation, and she said it was really from her 2 sons.
Special thing.
Yeah.
Somehow we raised the money. I forget what we had to do. We did something to raise the money. They asked him, where do you want the money to go to? And he said he wanted to go towards our ADA classroom. It was pretty nice.
Okay. All right. Anybody else? All right, roll call, please.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Cass?
Yes.
Mrs. Spooner?
Yes.
Mrs. Lindsay?
Okay, are you ready?
I'm ready.
I vote yes, except on check number 4020, I abstain. And as a final vote, I vote no on check number 1162. Since we shouldn't get to decide what kind of milk the kids get to drink, or the state shouldn't get to decide.
Abstain on 4020 and
4020
Just in
abstain,
time.
and no on 1162.
Mr. Lord?
Yes.
Mrs. Wagner?
Yes.
Mr. Capello?
Yes. I think that would be referred to as the Carlos Duarte Memorial.
Yes. May it live ever on.
All right, moving on. Mr. Cass, would you get us through our operations items?
Yes, nothing to move under transportation. But we do have a motion under buildings and grounds to approve the contract with Gordian Group, Murray Paving and Concrete as a subcontractor to provide contract services for the Valley View School Life Skill Project in the amount of $65,375.35.
Second.
Anything on the side?
I have a question about this. The contract is with the subcontractors who are not the pavers, correct? Is that, the pavers are more like general contractors and they're subcontractors?
The subcontractor, yeah.
Okay, we discussed this before, but I want to make sure.
It's the same contractor that is being used for the construction project here at Town Hall, as we discussed it before.
Okay.
I still don't understand how
The Murray Paving thing?
the guys who, their website only has residential paving, apparently is doing a construction project, but our illustrious state has approved them as contractors, so.
Thank you.
Yeah, I sent out a committee report. We spent quite a bit of time discussing this at the committee meeting, and it was a much better price than we had from the estimate from the architect initially, quite a bit of savings. And if you looked at the detail in the packet there, I mean, they had every screw and nail and cabinet hardware itemized, and so it seemed to be a very efficient process they had for putting the estimate together. And couldn't find anything really wrong with it.
Is this through the Middlesex Co-op again?
Yes.
Yeah, this is I know we talked about a needed project for that room, so.
I know this is not a full,
Yeah.
this is more of a rehab than a total.
We're not ripping out, we're redoing.
We're redoing, we're gonna put flooring in, paint, new cabinets, things like that, but we're not gutting it like we have other rooms.
Anything is better than what it is now.
It's
Have
not
you
great.
seen it?
I've seen pictures.
Yeah, I've been in there.
Still look like it's a fire hazard.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, nothing else? Roll call, please.
Mr. Anderson?
Yes.
Mr. Cass?
Yes.
Mrs. Tribuna?
Yes.
Mrs. Lindsay? Yes. Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Wagner?
Yes.
Mr. Capello?
Yes. Okay. On to go to the cause. We received some committee reports today, thank you very much for those. We can jump into the reorg meeting schedule if you guys want. I had asked for availability on the, you don't have to worry about this, for the possibility of doing a meeting on the 1st as opposed to the 4th. I did. He said he was okay. So I don't know if there's strong opinions one way or the other. I think,
Yeah, I may not be available, but I'm out of town. I'm still in town. You know, depending on the time is.
okay. Well, that was one thing we were talking about too, is maybe trying to do it either early or later, I guess, not.
Come early.
Hey, first of all, he was the one who suggested it.
It's a relative term.
It's
Let's make sure.
Yeah.
Just Friday is an option too.
Friday's the 5th.
So this spurred from me, guys. I apologize. I found out last week that I have a work obligation that I need to fly out on January 2nd, and I don't get back until very late on the 4th. So apologize, but this is one I can't get out of.
We have to have this. We have to have this done, the reorg has to happen by the 4th or the 5th?
Before the 7th of the month.
Before the 7th, okay.
The Monday, basically, the following Monday.
It has to be done before that.
So Friday is an option.
Well, like Friday afternoon.
Can everybody make Friday? Yes. I don't know.
It is.
Just gotta throw the wrench in there. And what does happen if we're snowed out at the meeting? We don't meet the
I
Saturday
think that
deadline?
just, that's.
Oh, if you were to miss? They could, you know what, they could fire us, that would be okay.
Hey, Don, what
Look
time?
at my schedule first.
What time on the 1st is like the latest you'd be able to do it? Do you know? Don?
If I'm not in town, I'm out of town.
Oh, I thought you were leaving that day. I apologize.
I was the
We
one.
usually go away that weekend, it's not definite, so if I'm around.
Okay.
I'm down in Delaware, I'm not gonna be here.
I could do the 1st anytime, not too early. Or I could do the 5th too. So.
Just, I mean, we don't have to do it here, right? The first, the town council does their reorg at 7:30 on the 1st here.
Maybe 5 o'clock, 5:30. I don't know if everybody wants to do it. I know Don might not be able to make it.
Oh, wow.
On the 1st, if we were to do it like 5 or 5:30 on the 1st.
What happened Friday?
That's.
Friday.
Do you know if there's no order?
I'm texting it now.
We need to organize this as a general
For Friday, we don't know. We could have it together for right now.
I will be equally inconvenienced either day, so it really doesn't matter to me.
I don't think, we may not be able to decide right now.
We might not be able to finalize this yet. I mean, either one is okay with me. It doesn't make much of a difference to me. I just texted James. I'm not sure I'll get it in answer right
Have to be set on the agenda.
now. No, we just have to notice it.
Meeting them tomorrow.
Okay. Okay. Anything else?
I had a couple things. Number one, just thank you to Mrs. Rothrock, specifically because I know as any other technology teacher for the honor code, I sat in on both a first grade classroom and a second grade class and was amazed at what they were doing and how engaged they were, and it was actually a lot of fun. So I really, really enjoyed it. Thank you. I sent her an email, thank her, but please thank you to the administration for inviting us in for that. I think most of you guys know, but at the last town council meeting, the council voted to approve the settlement agreements for 2 high-density housing developments in town. The first one is Glenmont Commons, 65 townhomes on Castor Line Road. That includes 25 3-bedroom units, market rate at least. The affordable units are all divided in accordance with the code regulations as far as bedrooms, but really the market rates are the ones that have the opportunity to negotiate. And those are 25 3-bedroom. The Ram Associates / Toll Brothers was also approved. That is on Franklin, right between Morris Knolls and Route 46, and that tiny patch of land in Denville is still part of Denville. That was also approved for, I believe it was 96 3-bedroom market rate units. I think you guys may have seen Ross was able to get us an explanation of kind of how he, Ross Haber, our demographer, was able to get us an explanation of how he determined the potential student yield out of those developments. I believe the numbers were close to 200 K through 8 students, or the total students. 185.
I was told that it's
184,
Yeah.
like that, for the K through 8. I think it was 90% yields were from K through 8. So that was approved. I did, and I'll bring this up to Steve just as a topic to think about. I know in the past we've had discussion on September 11th, the discussion and or some sort of activities in our schools for a memorial for that. I also had a parent who asked me about Pearl Harbor Day, December 7th, if there was any mention of that in the schools, or if there was something. So just as a mention, if that's something we want to look into. And then finally, I just want to add my thank you and well wishes to Mariana. I was thinking about this today, and I think that people often say that being on the school board is probably one of the most thankless jobs in town. You are dealing with people's taxes and their kids, which are the 2 most difficult things to talk about and things that they're most emotional about. But Mariana was always able to remind us that it was the most rewarding job in town, which was seeing the students, seeing the benefit that they had, and seeing what we truly do on a daily basis. And tonight was a great example with the presentations earlier. So thank you for always reminding me of that, because it's a good grounding that I needed every once in a while. But thank you very much for everything you've taught me over the last 3 years. It's been fun, and I wish you the best.
Thank you.
Don't change your number.
I'm getting it immediately on the list. Oh, man.
So I'm going to tag off what Mike said about the affordable housing stuff real briefly, because I have one item to add to that. After the council meeting, I gave a short statement about the impact on schools, which I think was generally well received. Some comments about our enrollment being down, and they didn't see these developments having a huge impact. But I attended a meeting 2 nights after, put together by Gene Fitzpatrick. It was an affordable housing kind of information session. It was 3 council people, myself, and 1 resident, Ryan. It was a good conversation. I think, the thing I got out of it more than anything else was they felt very strongly that this was the best possible decision they could make, that if they didn't approve at least these 2 settlements, they would be opening the town up to potentially a lot more development, a lot larger, more dense, and possibly losing Village Remedy, which could be, a disaster. So they really feel strongly that that is the right thing to do. So, they move forward on that basis. Go from there. And I want to second, Mariana, we're sorry to see you go. You've been a friend and a colleague for 3 years. The reason I'm sitting here is because when I met you at the Evening Sustainability Committee meeting, and I asked you what's it like to be a board member, you lied and said it was great. You've been,
Never.
I don't know. Now, you've been an inspiration. The work you've done, tireless work you've done, and not just being a board member, volunteering in the schools at Lakeview, and I know you've been a fixture there for a long time. A lot of people will miss you. Hopefully, this isn't the last we're going to see you, sir. I want to thank you for it.
Thank you very much. I don't know who says this is a thankless job. I feel like I've been on a goodbye tour because you guys have assigned me to be liaison to so many places. Every place I go, I get a goodbye and a send off and invited back. Thank you.
Dino, can I add one additional thing just on the council meeting? I forgot to mention that that same night when they approved those 2 developments, they also had a presentation from Station Village, which is Redmond Press, Station Road, 53 development. Just to give everybody a quick update on that, 59 units are currently what are proposed, all 1 and 2 bedroom. So I would suspect that similar to Espling Village, and that's actually Espling's 100. This is 59, so I would expect the impact to be small, not 0, but certainly small. It's considered kind of a commuter village right on the back of that the Mount Tabor train station. There was a lot of discussion. There was a lot of folks here because of the vote that was going on that night, and a lot of discussion with the builder. I think that most people walked away saying that the builder for that development was very open to suggestions and ideas and working with them and coming up with something that was agreeable to everybody. That builder is not an intervener, so he has not filed an intervener lawsuit, but obviously is looking to try to build something in that location. So a lot of discussion on traffic, a little bit on school impact, although really, like I said, with 1 and 2 bedroom in that location on a train station, 59 units. Like I said, I think we have 9 out of Espling Village now.
Right.
So, the estimate would be less than double digits, I would say, probably coming out of that development, right?
Right.
But that's just a quick update on, that is if you look at the 2015 to 2025 fair housing concept plan from Denville, that is the final of the high-density housing. There's 1 additional group home, Lake Lenore, but that's the final of the high-density housing that is left on that list. That would be Espling. Am I correct on that? I think it's right. Espling, Ram, Glenmont, Station, and then the group home. So that would be the 5 developments that were on that list. That doesn't mean that the court does not come back and say that's not good enough, and the special master who has been assigned to the case has given a higher number. They're still negotiating back and forth. I think there's certainly a chance that that number's higher, but they continue to look at creative ways to meet their obligation without any additional high-density homes, is what the message they gave that night. That's it.
Anybody else? Pretty good? Okay. If nothing else, we'll open up for our second public comment section of the evening at 8:35. Same rules as before. If there's anything you'd like to say, please come on up, sign in, and announce your name and address for the record.
The handheld. Push the button for about a second or 2.
Hello,
There you go.
Seth Johnson, 49 Lakewood Drive in Denville. I just want to thank Ms. Lindsay for 13 years of sticking it out. You've done a great job. Thank you.
That's it. Sorry, we're out of time.
So now that Mariana is leaving, who's gonna vote no on the bill code? And it's like, I'll take one, take a few what's member.
Please address all your comments directly to the chair. You can only speak to the board president unless you ask the board.
And Mariana, I was wondering, there was an email conversation you and I had about a month ago. Can you pull that up for me?
No, I can't, sorry. I have nothing in my inbox. Your emails.
In all seriousness, during my time on the board, you were phenomenal. You still are. You've always been. You know so much about this district. It's not even funny. It's going to be a huge capital loss because of your time on the board. Not to say that these guys aren't doing a great job, but you have all the history.
We all agree.
And you have the history. So thank you for your tireless hours and what you've done for that.
My name is Michael Burkin. I live at 7 Ridgewood Parkway West. First, I'd like to thank everybody who does serve on the board. It's very important to the town, the way the schools are being run, and everybody's very proud of it. So I want to say thank you to everyone. I did a literal back-of-the-envelope kind of thing on Mariana. I was there when you joined the board. You came on at a very critical time and were very instrumental. Back of the envelope says that you probably attended 312 Board of Education meetings. And these 312 committee meetings, and I can't begin to translate what that would mean into hours. You served on the Educational Services Commission, the meetings that you did at the CPAC, your liaison with the PTAs and all of those meetings, the many meetings that you participated in and around interviewing and hiring people, along with the countless conversations you had with residents about what's going on with our schools, have really had an impact on our town. Denville and our schools are better off because of your service, and I wanted to say thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Berkshire.
Thank you.
Yes, that's right.
All right, if there's no one else, we're going to close the public comment at 8:39 p.m. We do have a need for a second executive session. We do anticipate, it's going to be legal, and we do anticipate coming out voting. We will need to vote after.
But we only expect to vote on that.
Only on that line B section.
Correct, and we postpone.
Before we move into executive, can I just say a thank you to you all, even the people in the back row that didn't get up and speak, who are responsible for why I'm here tonight, still 13 years later. So thank you for all the kind words. And it actually, nobody will believe this, but it has been a joy serving with all the different boards I've served with. And I can think of no better job than working on the future, which is what we do. So thank you all. And continue the good work.
Would you care to listen into our executive?
I will move us into executive if I don't have to stay for you. I move to convene an executive session in accordance with Section 8 of the Open Public Meetings Act. The purpose of this closed session will be to discuss legal issues. Minutes of this session will be made available to the public when the need for confidentiality no longer exists.
All in favor? Any opposed? One nay.
It wasn't me.
Any abstentions? We are in executive 8:41. Okay, all right, we're back on. Okay, so we have taken out of executive session. Mr. Anderson, and we care to move us through the items we have to vote on that?
Sure. I'd like to move item 3B, and please note that 3B also includes 3E and F on the addendum.
You actually have all of the advance.
Yes, that's three, yeah.
Section 1, 2, and 3.
3B, 1, 2, and 3, and then there's also on the addendum, there's an E and F on number
Yeah.
3. Second. Correct, yeah.
Sorry, I thought you were saying B3.
No, yes.
I see what you're saying.
It's, well, it is 3.
Well, yes,
It's
3, yes.
3B, 1, 2, 3, including 3E and F on the addendum. Thank you, Mr. Lewis.
Is there a second?
Yeah, Mr. Lewis, second.
Okay. All right, any comments or questions on these items before we vote? All right, if not, roll call please on 3B.
Mr. Allison?
Yes.
Mr. Cass?
Yes.
Mrs. Belinda?
Yes.
Mrs. Lindsay?
Yes.
Mr. Moore?
Yes.
Mrs. Wagner?
Yes.
Mr. Capelli?
Yes. All right, before I take a motion for adjournment, I'll open up for board comments.
I'm sorry, I forgot during the committee report section to ask the board that will sit at reorg night to consider 2 of my liaisonships, and just keep in mind that the Lakeview PTA's next meeting is January 11th at 7 p.m. and the next CPAC meeting is January 17th at 6:30 p.m. So somebody dig in your heart and find the way to go sit with them. Both are enjoyable liaisons.
Thank you.
Will we adjourn?
Oh, I'll second
Do the
that.
honors. Thank you. All in favor?
Yay.
Any opposed? Any abstentions? Okay, hearing none, we are closed at 9:07 p.m. Thank you, everybody, very much.